We're Kim and Dell, and following a week-long love affair with tall ship Bessie Ellen last summer, we're delighted to be joining her again in 2024 for her 120-year celebratory voyage around Britain. On our previous sailing holiday in the Inner Hebrides, we climbed aboard as guests, but this year we're making up part of Bessie's official crew. Our primary role is to document this historic journey, capturing a year in the life of Bessie Ellen through photos and videos. But before we can set sail and embark on all the fun stuff that this voyage has to offer, we've had some training to do. Specifically, a week-long course to achieve the minimum level of familiarisation and basic safety training as outlined by the Standards of Training Certification and Watchkeeping Code, or STCW for short. This Basic Safety Week course is something that all seafarers working in any capacity on a vessel need to undertake, and there are various training centres around the UK offering it. We opted for our closest one, Stream Marine Training in Glasgow. The course lasted 5 days and covered personal safety and social responsibilities, security awareness, fire prevention and firefighting, personal survival techniques, and elementary first aid. It involved a mixture of classroom-based learning and active participation, including fighting real fires and putting survival techniques into practice in the water. We had to do tests at the end of each module, and having passed them all, we can now proudly present our numerous certificates of achievement and, more importantly, take up our berths in Bessie's crew quarters. As the course is a necessity for anyone working at sea, our classmates for the week comprised a broad spectrum of seafarers, including people working on fishing trawlers, passenger ferries, charter boats, commercial vessels, and tall ships. Our various job roles included skipper, lighthouse engineer, chef, photographer and videographer, that's us by the way, first mate, and even a few painters and decorators preparing for a contract in Antarctica. We spent the first 1.5 days in the classroom learning about personal safety on board, social responsibilities, security awareness, and the theory side of fire prevention and firefighting. Then it was time to head over to the fireground and put into practice everything we'd been learning about fire extinguishers and technical firefighting equipment.
Right, so you're actually extinguishing the fire, okay? And you go all the way in.
Fire.
See the smoke? Go. You want to face it on the way back, right? Back the jump. That's that, keep your weight on the back foot like so. That's the bit outside the jump. That's it, stop that. Next. Everybody else, are you all happy? Everybody happy? Open up. Right, close it off. Right, bend the left knee, lean forward. Yeah, close it off. Much easier, isn't it? Keep your right knee straight. Right, you lean forward. Open up.
The third day of the course was dedicated entirely to fire prevention and firefighting, and I was delighted to be joined by a new classmate for the day. Having already practiced with commonplace firefighting equipment such as extinguishers, today was all about learning to use more advanced equipment and techniques, and undertaking practical search and rescue and firefighting exercises. In the morning, we learnt how to correctly carry out a search and rescue operation and how to set up and use a breathing apparatus or BA system. This kit includes fireproof clothing, a sealed mask and oxygen tank.
Right, once you've got the cylinder on, all your straps are fully extended, your demand valves on your mask straps fully extended, just sit down after that. The red button, turn the valve on.
Deep breath on, full straps, then breathe.
Yeah. Right, back away, remember. Right, lean down the bottom two several times. That's it, don't panic. Yeah. And the top one as well. Right, so what we're going to do then, guys, right, just breathe normally at the moment, alright, adjust it if you think it needs adjusting, more comfortable, alright, tighten up if you think it needs tightened up anywhere, right, 2, 3, deep breath, hold it, head from side to side, up and down. Anybody got any leaks?
Yeah.
You got some leaks there, yeah?
Moving up and down.
Right. Right. Maybe you can do your mask as well. Right. Maybe a smaller one. And better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to tighten up a wee bit there. Right. So what you're going to do now is just stick your finger in the side. So finger in between your mask and your skin. Pull the mask away from your skin. So you feel that positive pressure escaping. Yeah. Now what we're going to do is switch your cylinder valve off. And then switch it back on half a turn. Right, make sure you do switch it back on half a turn, because you need breathable air, okay? So what we're going to do now, right, when I tell you, is take a deep breath, switch your cylinder valve off, make sure it doesn't drop 10 bar within 10 seconds, right? If it does, switch it back on half a turn. If it doesn't, breathe it down, right, until your whistle goes. Happy with that, guys? Right, so take a deep breath, switch your cylinder valve off.
And when the whistle goes, do we turn it back off?
Yeah. Now, once the needle's at zero,
Yeah.
means you're no longer breathable air, you need to switch it back on again, yeah? Okay, so deep breath, switch it off. Right, you're covering the whistle. Yeah, so switch it back on again. That's it. It goes back on full. Right, done yours.
Yeah.
Done yours. Yeah, that's it. Once you've done your face seal check, you just take the mask off now. You flick the buckles, right, till you've loosened off the straps. Take a deep breath, push the red button, then take the mask off. Right, when it starts going, psst, don't start panicking, just push the red button again. Don't switch that cylinder off though. Red button again, that's it. Right. Yeah, your hair's going to get caught in the buckles.
These things right back, eh?
Yeah. Flicking like that.
Wait, this should be against the skin before the shoe
So
goes
they
on.
would be turning
Yeah,
down.
put your hood down, and
Right
then the next strap touches your skin.
then. Don't have to put that up there.
Or you need to take it down to get the
Yeah, go it over here.
Upside down, that's the problem.
Oh, nearly. I was going to ask you, you're going down.
Well, actually, I was surprised when I saw you putting it together, and it was upside down because I was just thinking about it in terms of diving.
No.
Yeah, I was as well.
These straps, do we tuck them somewhere?
You can tuck them in.
Like here?
It's our food gets to digest.
Thanks.
Then it was time to put all the theory into practice. We split into pairs and were given a brief to carry out a left-hand search and rescue operation in a smoke-filled room, which in reality was a completely blacked-out container. Fully kitted up with our breathing apparatus, which weighed over 10 kilograms, we carried out the exercise while our instructor monitored our progress using a thermal imaging camera.
Left hand side. Far left. Moving around. The entrance here. I'm going right, I'm going around the back.
Del and I are used to wearing a BA system when scuba diving, but the experience of wearing the gear on land while carrying out an operation in pitch black with Darth Vader a constant companion in our ears was considerably more claustrophobic than our experiences underwater. With the casualty located and rescued, we prepared for our next exercise, tackling a real fire. Working in teams of 3 and following all the safety procedures that we'd been taught, we descended 2 sets of ladders and stairs in a double-storey shipping container, transporting a hose all the way to the bottom floor where a fire had been set.
Okay, so we're going to do a gauge check at this point. Okay, tell us no more hose. No more hose! Just come back, check the ladder now. It's clear. Check the ladder first, remember. Okay, sweet, start. Together, sit shoot your feet. Remember, use your wrists on the ladder. That's it, good. Sweep, start, sweep together.
We took turns tackling the fire via a method of pulsing, before retracing our route with the hose to exit out the hatch on the container roof. It was pretty hard graft given the weight of the hose, and we were all totally sweating under our thick firefighting gear, but the increased visibility meant this exercise felt much less claustrophobic than the previous one, and it was actually pretty fun. With our 3rd certificate of the week in hand, we headed home to wash off the stench of smoke and returned for day 4 with our swimming gear and towels in hand, ready to learn all about personal survival at sea. We covered all the theory in the morning and then headed to the on-site pool in the afternoon to put things into practice. Exercises included getting into a survival suit, donning a life jacket and jumping into the water, and practicing various manoeuvres in the water. These included swimming, turning around, towing a casualty, buddying up and forming a circle to conserve warmth and energy, and techniques for attracting attention from the air.
What was only 2? What position did you get into? A cuddle! A cuddle, yeah, so clear up again. Cuddle. Okay, that's it. So what we want you to do is hold hands, and what you're trying to do is make this up as quick as possible. So don't tag again, alright, you always want to keep contacting each other. And you should just be stretched out guys, so you should stretch out most of this pool. Everybody talk hold of each other? Yeah. So, okay, so you see a helicopter coming, what are you going to do?
Next, it was time to climb into a life raft, which is definitely harder than our instructor made it look, by the way, and practice paddling and throwing and retrieving a sea anchor.
What we're trying to do is 2 feet on there, you're going to try and pull yourself in as close as you can, and you're going to try and stand straight up. Okay, there's no point in trying to put your feet underneath the raft, alright, you'll never get in. Alright, you want to try and be as if you're sitting at a dining chair, and then just go from sitting to standing up. Okay, so you're going to try and stand straight up. Once you get your life jacket up to this part, you can start throwing yourself into the wee ladder inside. It's really, really easy, especially when you've got a life jacket on. Alright, so 2 feet on the bottom, what to start off with, alright? Now, see how my feet are going to be under? I'm going nowhere here. I can't pull myself up, right? Get my feet underneath my bum, right? Just pull myself up and then stand up. You have another bit of your ladder in there. And once you've done that, you can climb up a little bit. How easy is that? And then try and stand up as straight as you can. That's it, perfect. That should be you. Then flip it like that. This is getting worse for you. Hey, bother.
With a dozen of us in the raft, it was surprisingly warm, and it soon became obvious how important teamwork would be in a real-life survival situation. Lastly, we each practiced flipping a life raft in the water, as there's every chance that a raft might end up upside down after being launched off a vessel. Again, not as easy as well-practiced Paul made it look, but Del totally nailed it.
As straight as I can. And all I'm going to do is start pulling back, trying to go over. Nice and slowly, if you go too fast, it will land on your head. Alright, lean back, lean back, lean back. You need to climb up a little bit. You can see it start to go over.
My attempt with my measly muscles was somewhat less graceful, but the raft did end up the right way round eventually. The final day of the course was dedicated to elementary first aid, with lots of practical exercises to back up the theory. We learned how to carry out adult, child and baby CPR, getting hands-on with dummies to practice CPR in each scenario. We also covered choking and learned how best to treat various injuries including burns, cuts and fractures.
So can you cough? Can you cough it out? No, it's not working. So I go into my back, slap back in the book at least 5 times. Right, that's not worked either. Still choking away. So I make sure it's really important I put my arms underneath it. If I go over and you're struggling, I'm not going to get the purchase I need for this one. Okay, so I get underneath, get my landmark. There's the tummy button, the sternum, fist in there. There we go. Oh! And I've saved the day.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No response.
No response.
Painful stimuli. Perfect. Patient's unresponsive.
Yep, no response.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, resurrect.
Unit okay. Stay calm. Chest response. Call for help.
2, 3,
Open
4,
airway.
5, 6.
Don't touch patient. Analyze it.
What are you saying to them now?
Don't touch patient, analyze.
Good. Oh.
Don't touch patient. Analyze it. Shock advised.
Stand clear.
Shock delivered. Start CPR.
And stop there then. Cough, cough, splutter, splutter. That shock's done the trick.
Got the mucus, I think, so they're ready to go.
Yeah,
CPR.
Not sure.
She's alive! Better than wrapping bandages around people's heads. It could cause further injury as well. Happy with that? What about abdomens and chest areas then? How can we dress them, do you think? Put that over her shoulder. Bring this across here. So lift your arm up for me. Perfect. I'll keep that in place. Right up.
Does that feel okay?
Yeah, it's all good.
Our final test involved working in small groups to assess a hypothetical emergency first aid scenario, describing how we would respond to the situation and prioritise and treat each casualty. It was an incredibly useful component of the week-long course that taught us skills beyond what we'd learned on a previous basic first aid course that we'd done with the Red Cross.
Cub's neckerchief like so. Tie a figure of 8 bandage. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up, cross over. Now you can see why it's called a figure of 8. And now wrap this round the feet at the bottom and tie it off on the front, just here. Nice little reef knot again. There we go.
And so, with a 5th certificate in hand, we had now both completed the course, ready to join the crew of Bessie Ellen for her 120th birthday voyage. And with our certification lasting 5 years, who knows what other adventures we might embark on with Bessie in coming seasons. But first things first, it is leg 1 of the much anticipated Round Britain tour.